Hey guys, how you going? Hey guys, are you worried about 5G or EMFs? Well, I'd like to introduce you to the sponsor of this video. It's a business who supports the truth. It's EMF harmonized and they sell EMF protection technology. It's like Tesla technology. The technology filters out the harmful RF radio frequency waves and has been scientifically proven to do so. As we use our computers, phones and tablets, the EMFs damage our DNA. In other words, consider getting some EMF protection from the link below, as you'll protect yourself, you'll help the growth of my channel, and you'll help fellow truth supporting businesses. And just so you can see the products for yourself, this is the products. And it gives you, even the website will give you a lot of information. So if you'd like to check it out, the link will be down below. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate your support. Okay, guys, I've been a bit unwell for a few days. I still am, but I thought I'd come on and just do this quick little video for you. This is what actually woke me up in the first place, and it's interesting because every few years I'll go back and watch it. It is prophecies and predictions. It takes prophecies and predictions from everywhere, but it is full of fear porn. So if you can read between the lines though, and I've just picked out some really good parts of this documentary that makes more sense than anything else. Okay, during this documentary they're going to mention climate. This is when climate change first started being promoted. If you change climate as in weather to climate as in social climate or political climate, then it makes more sense. It also has some positive things at the end, so just hang in there. And remember, this was done back in the 90s, so you'll have to excuse some of the footage because it is back from the 90s. But it's very interesting, and what I'll do is I'll put the link below so you can go and watch the whole thing. But I think what I've put together here, I've cherry-picked the best bits to send a message to you guys as well. So, and it is positive at the end. But hey, if you want to know all the doom and gloom that's coming to your country, well, I think it's what they actually had planned. But it didn't work out the way they'd planned. So, but there is some interesting stuff in here about September the 11th, many years ago. There was a prophecy that looked like it did come true. It was just maybe misinterpreted, or they thought it was coming from a different scenario, if you want to put it that way. So you let me know what you think of this down below, guys, and I will be back with the news very shortly. I'm still recovering. It's just a back and neck injury, guys, so you have to bear with me, and thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate it. Okay, here we go.
We're going to take you on a journey around the world to reveal startling prophecies and their dire consequences for America, Britain, and Australia. All of these countries are predicted to suffer in the next few years.
A carriage without horse will go. Disaster fill the world with woe. In water, iron then shall float as easy as a wooden boat. For in those wondrous far-off days, the women shall adopt a craze to dress like men, and trousers wear, and to cut off their locks of hair. They'll ride astride with brazen brow, as witches do on broomstick now. When pictures seem alive with movements free, when boats, like fishes, swim beneath the sea.
Mother Shipton, as well as predicting major Earth changes for our time, foresaw the discoveries of her own writings 500 years after her death. 30 years ago, a rare collection of Mother Shipton's prophecies was smuggled out of the Mitchell Library, which is now the State Library of New South Wales. The originals had been kept in a locked room, along with many other volumes of prophetic writings deemed unsuitable for viewing by the general public.
I know I go. I know I'm free. I know that this will come to be. Secreted this, for this will be found by later dynasty.
Earth, shaking fire from the center of the earth, will cause tremors around the new city.
Earth shaking fire from the centre of the earth. This could be interpreted as earthquakes. And is the new city New York?
Much of New York City will be destroyed by earthquake and tidal wave around the year 1999. Many portions of the East Coast will be greatly disturbed, as in the west and central portion of the United States. Los Angeles and San Francisco, these areas will be among those that will be destroyed before New York. Portions of New York City itself will, in the main, disappear.
Los Angeles, the so-called City of the Angels, almost a metaphor for life in the fast lane. A place where ideas, fads and fashions come and go in the twinkling of an eye. The archetype of the throwaway society. The symbolic manifestation of what the prophets have often referred to as the quickening. The quickening is a point in history where not only science and technology speeds up at a frightening pace, but also where ideas, philosophies, and even moral values change with the wind as fast as we can conceive them. The visionaries have warned us to look out for this phenomenon as a sign of the last days.
There's much talk about the quickening happening towards this millennium turnover. If you want to picture an elliptical racetrack, as a car is coming towards the narrow portion of the racetrack, things speed up. The way the Mayan people see it, as I've understand it, as they've spoken it, is that we're coming to the end of that racetrack and turning a curve into a new circle or a new cycle. Things are speeding up.
So the 90s dreaming's all about fast pace. See, in the olden days, we used to walk the journeys. And with that walking, we're treading the paths of ancestors. We're treading their journeys, and we had time then to do our businesses within those journeys. Sorry business, happy business, man's business, woman's business. Now we're all travelling fast. So we've had to learn ourselves, as the keepers of all of those stories and energies, to slow down ourselves.
The quickening is going to have the effect on the human psyche, supposedly, because time is speeding up. Everything is speeding up. We're getting more information. The cycles of the planet are speeding up and so forth. This is going to create problems with human beings in their relationships one with another, in families, in nations, everywhere. That is what it is supposed to create. It is supposed to bring out the best in people and the worst in people.
Whenever there is a high point of civilization, it always ends in catastrophe.
What all scientists seem to agree upon is that change is upon us, major change.
So it seems mankind is forced down onto his hands and knees before entering the King's Chamber of Enlightenment. And finally, this is the King's Chamber. Right here I'm standing under the apex of the pyramid. and its supposed sarcophagus or open tomb. It symbolises the new age, the golden age.
But then above that there are 5 more chambers, which rather suggests 5 more dimensions of consciousness, culminating in an upward arrow, which may suggest that's where we're supposed to be going.
The prophets are right. They don't all seem to agree exactly on the same dates, but there certainly seems to be an underlying connecting thread between prophecy and catastrophic earth changes and global warfare around the turn of the century. However, they speak of an enlightened, peaceful golden age immediately following these apocalyptic events. But first, we all have to change the way we think.
In the past, we've become separated from the natural world. We manipulate the natural world. We sit in our air-conditioned offices and nature is outside us. And clearly, I think there's a case to be made that unless we do rediscover our roots with nature, we're in for big trouble.
It's not so much that we have to all go back to living in huts again and hunting here and there and gathering, as much as it is that we need to think like hunters and gatherers again.
Mankind doesn't like to change. We've got to change our thinking, we've got to change our way of life. Instead of simply being focused upon my needs and the needs of my immediate family and the acquisition of material wealth, we have to stop and think about the needs of everyone.
We can't consume at the rate we're consuming. Nobody can really keep up with the stress that we're required to operate under, and because it's unnatural. And in the end, you can do a lot of unnatural things for a long time, and then one morning you got a hell of a hangover and you think, wait, I better go back to tofu and, you know, suck up some of this spirulina and, you know, straighten up. So it's really, the whole world's got to go back to sort of a sensible diet of simplicity and a more spiritual way of operating.
The native prophecies from a variety of sources throughout the world tell us over and over that if we don't wake up to the change and meet that drumbeat as we should, that climate will change for us to get our attention.
It's going to be cataclysmic for the Earth as a cleansing, but then a reemergence of a time period of at least a millennium of the kind of a planet we always wanted. It's a period of peace and harmony and cooperation. My visions indicate that it lasts a lot longer than 1,000 years.
And so what we're facing is really a new birth for the planet, renewal of the environment, and for ourselves, a new form of new improved humanity.
The great desert regions. A great transformation will take place. The unbearable heat had been reduced considerably, and upon the sands grass now grew, turning this once arid region into a green haven.
There's prophecies happening right now. There are a series of events that have never been seen in this country before. Take, for example, the case at Ayers Rock, when it snowed for the first time. You know, this hasn't been recorded before in history, something like this happening. But it's happening, and yet we just allowed that event to go straight over the top of our heads.
It seems that in order to effect change, we not only have to be more aware of how we treat our planet, but how we treat our fellow man. Both visionaries and scientists all seem to be telling us that how we imagine our future is how it will be.
Choice plays the major role in what the next millennium will be about.
Man doesn't understand that the power of the mind is immense. What we think, we create. If we can change our thinking, we can change our life.
The purpose of prophecy is to warn us so that if we don't like the prophesied outcome, we can use our free will to change the course of destiny.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think down below and I'll be back very shortly. Okay, bye.